Hey guys, it's Yuna. I wanted to put out a guide on Zodiark since I saw one person in the balance ask for it. So today we'll be going over a Zodiark run I did specifically for this commentary slash guide. In general, I'm not going to be talking about rotational choices. Mainly, I'm going to be talking about pre-positioning and planning for mechanics as a black mage. I am assuming you already know how the fight works. I will not be explaining mechanics, generally. So you've ideally cleared it before, and now you want to know what you can do better or you can do differently. Also, this is not a perfect run. It is a 99 though, so you can trust what I do in it. Alright, so let's get started. Now, I may skip forward a lot for parts that don't really matter, like the opener, for example. Notice we're starting on the left edge because we'll be moving up towards the A. This will give you, this will reduce the distance you need to move, for example. Alright, move up here, drop my ley lines, and opener. I'm going to skip ahead a bit now, since there's nothing to see here. We're just going to keep doing our opener here. We're going to take the stack, and then after this, we want to move to the middle of the arena. This is because for the mechanic afterwards, we're going to either want to move all the way to the east or all the way to the west. Right? So I'm just going to let it play out. So we see the triangle appearing on the east side. So we're going to move into this pocket south of it. I'm going to pause here. This pocket where I'm standing will always be safe. Right? This is true if the triangle is also on the other side. Then we'll be on the other side, right? But the combination for this mechanic is a triangle on the east or west, and then in the front we'll get a triangle or a square. If it's a square, I guess it's a rectangle, whatever, it covers the front half, right? So we'll let it play out a little here. Right, so we're going to be safe. We're always going to be safe in the spot. So always move to the spot. And make sure you have some sort of instant or movement tool so you can get from the middle to the east or the west. Now, afterwards, we are going to try and keep our triple for the next mechanic. We're going to be going to one of the two birds. So that was the paradigma cast, and now I weave triple. I'm going to, and we're going to the back one here, right? Alright. Cool, somebody in my party died. Right, so after this is going to be a Phobos. If you can move closer to your party here, that's good. It'll make healers healing you easier. Now the next mechanic after this is going to be a triple, I can't pronounce it, triple exoterikos, triple arcane seal, right? Now for this, you will want to drop your ley lines at the front of the map. Okay, now that first arcane seal on the east or west can be a triangle or a square, right? If it's a square, you can drop your ley lines on the other side, right? So I'm on the west, you want to drop your ley lines on the west side. If it is a triangle, you will want to drop it in the center, a bit to the right of where I'm standing now, somewhere in the front, okay? Over here, you may want to kind of, if you have a lot of xenoglossies, use your xenoglossies, weave your amplifier, weave your ley lines. You will also want to weave mana ward, and then later you will want to weave surecast. Because right now we are just going to completely ignore this mechanic. Right? We just ate the snake and we are perfectly fine. We took one vuln, we're still around 50% health. And we got to drop our ley lines in a good spot and completely ignore the mechanic. So this is more important if you had a triangle pattern, right? But in general, you can always move up at this point and just eat a mechanic. Standing at the front part here, you will always be safe from the triangle. If it was a triangle, we had a square unfortunately in this run, so we can't see that. And then you could look out for where the snake is and potentially stand in a safe spot. Honestly, that's just way too much thinking, and you have to look around a lot. Just weave Mana Ward and weave Surecast and eat the snake. Or yeah, eat the snake. Alright, let's continue. This is also a good spot because you will be ready for a Dikia afterwards. You will already be in the center here. Right, so I'm just going to take a step back and I'll be safe. Now this part, timing here is kind of difficult. Personally, I'm not familiar with how many GCDs I have left before Zodiark leaves. I don't think it's too important because right after he leaves, the ads spawn. Okay, so you don't really lose too much downtime. I do think it would be good to cast a Blizzard 4 here and also weave a Sharp Cast. So if I had cast the Blizzard 4, I would probably be in a better situation right now. Right now, I'm in kind of a scuffed no B4 situation, and you're going to see me just clip my Sharp Cast and dot these first two orbs in the front. Now, I do this because these orbs tend to last longer, and Sharp Cast T3P is pretty strong, right? So yeah, dot the first two orbs in the front, and then do whatever you can to hit the orbs in the back. It's really hard to discuss the ads phase or what to do necessarily, but generally be liberal with your instant casts. It's a good idea. For example, right here, my rotation's already scuffed. I'm just gonna hit Xenoglossy and run to the safe spot. Do hang around in this area though, because either the safe spot will be in the back half or in the front half. I'm just gonna hit my triple cast. Whatever. Just use your instants. You don't really need to keep them here. Just use them. I have to move again. Just throw in a Xenoglossy. And honestly, the timing on the ads, you kind of have to get lucky if you're not playing with a static and you don't know what the other people are going to do. They might kill things quickly, they might not. They might kill the front ones really quickly and make your dot worthless. Can't do anything about it. I guess one thing you can pay attention to here is though, if you get the square pattern first, where you move to the south half first, then you know you can be in the north half for the next two mechanics, right? If you don't get that one first, well, at least you'll know what the last mechanic will be. So good luck on the ads phase. I just wing it every time. Be generous with your instance. Over here, I'm going to build up my Paradox, right? So Umbral Soul to UI3, UH3, transpose, and then transpose back, and then at least Umbral Soul one more time. Okay. Also use your Sharp Cast. So this opener is kind of optimized, or reopener is kind of optimized. What I'm going to do is I am going to Paradox, transpose, Paradox, Despair, Xenoglossy, transpose, and then Paradox again. Paradox is quite strong, so we're getting in a lot of Paradox casts. Yes. We also have a Sharp Cast that will give us a Firestarter proc that we will use for the reopener after Astral Eclipse. So let's just watch this. I'm going to try to spam target it. Get the Paradox off, transpose, Paradox, Despair, Xenoglossy, transpose, Paradox. Okay, and now he leaves. At this point, you don't have to do this. This gets really busy and it's kind of hard to focus on. At this point, I need to build up another paradox before he comes back from astral eclipse. So we're going to umbral soul, then we're going to transpose, wait for the transpose cooldown, transpose again, and then umbral soul. And that's all we need to do. While we're doing this though, remember to hit sharpcast again, and remember to hit amplifier.
From broken skies fall tears of flame.
Alright, okay, I'm back in UI2 with paradox. I hit sharpcast. I'm about to hit amplifier. I kind of forgot to, but I will hit it soon. We're gonna start with a T3, then paradox, which will give us UI3. Then we can transpose and use F3P and continue with xenoglossies and triple cast for our movement.
All shall burn.
T3, paradox, transpose. I throw in a xenoglossy first here. Now I fire starter, I triple cast. At this point, weave your mana ward. Weave your mana ward, and when you get to the final location, drop your ley lines. Alright. In fact, drop your ley lines. If you need to go back to see that again, just go back to watch that again. But it's really important to get a good ley lines usage off, so do try to drop it as soon as possible. Over here, since I ended up in the middle star spot, it's quite easy for me to weave some stuff, use some instance to walk over to the correct safe spot. If you're on the right side, for example, and the safe spot and your party is on the left side, just instant cast something and ethereal manipulate, right? I didn't have to do it here. Okay.
All in existence, bend to my will.
There's nothing really important to do over here. Actually, yes. Go back to the middle. Go back to the middle. The next mechanic will either be going west or east. Right. I use my triple cast here because I know this next mechanic doesn't really need that many instants, and we get plenty. All right, so safe spot's gonna be on the west side. Run all the way to the edge. Now, running all the way to the edge is very good because the next mechanic is going to be the diagonal dive, and the safe if you're on the very edge, the north half is safe or the south half is safe. You only have to take a couple steps. I'll just show it to you. Just I'm like a waymark's distance up from the middle, and boom, that's how close it cuts. It looks pretty close. It's not that close. I'm pretty safe here. Okay, but basically, since I was in that position, if he was diving from the other side, I would have just had to take in a couple steps south instead of north, right? So pre-positioning in this way is very helpful. It was a two-step process. First, after that mechanic where we were in the northeast corner, we reset ourselves and we came back to the center because we didn't know if the square arcane seal would be on the left or the right. Since it was on the right, we used our instant cast to move all the way to the left. And then when we see I'll get ins from the top right corner, we know we just need to take a couple steps north. But we would have been prepared to take a couple steps south. All right, that was probably way too much information for one mechanic, but let's continue. I have no idea what comes next. Let's see. All right, so for this mechanic, you can go to any bird. There will be a safe spot. If you really don't know and you have to follow the Dorito, just manipulate over there. I stood in the right place. All of them stood in the wrong place for this one.
Will you live to see the end?
So I actually kind of messed up my rotation here. I should not have used amplifier there. I tried to weave in amplifier here. I used Xenoglossy and then I used amplifier, but that was a mistake, right? Because now I'm about to overcap again. So I'm forced to use another Xenoglossy here. This causes me to lose a Fire 4. Now, I did not notice I had a Firestarter proc at this time, so I lose the Fire 4 and I just cast Despair. Also, this is another triple exoterikos. Similar to before, just drop your ley lines in the front. I didn't really move over that much. I was pretty impatient to drop my ley lines, right? Because their stack was so far away. And if you're not playing in a static, you will just have to suffer, right? You just have to stand in that stack. You just have to stand in the stack and watch as your ley lines is off cooldown. But you could have dropped it. You could have dropped it if they're just standing over here in the middle, but they weren't. So for this one, for this mechanic, you just drop your ley lines at the front again, ideally in the center. If there is a triangle in the south, you will eat shit. So you just mana ward and surecast as before if you don't have any instants when it's going off. For this one, it was a square in the back. You could see because it was a pink tether. This pink tether thing, so you know it's a square in the back. So you're gonna be safe in the center. If there was a square seal on the right, for example, I would have had to taken a step out of my ley lines, or I could have eaten it with the mana ward. But yeah, yes, you will be safe from triangles up here. Over here, there's going to be a Dikia. It is going to phase again. Once again, I'm not sure on the timing. It's going to use Astral Eclipse and it's going to phase. Over here, I do weave a Sharp Cast right after the Dikia to get a Firestarter proc for when Astral Eclipse, for the Astral Eclipse reopener. Right, so he's phasing here. I get off a Swift Despair cast. I do not get off this Paradox, unfortunately. But yeah, so I don't have to, at this point I don't have to rebuild my Paradox. So T3P, Paradox, Transpose, barely get the F3P. Almost ran into the wrong spot there. And at this point, Surecast. If you're not in the right spot, just Surecast. Eat this. Do note, I got lucky here, I suppose. There is a chance you might not have a Surecast if you had used Surecast on the previous mechanic that I told you to eat. Did not realize that. At that point, yes, at that point, okay, maybe you shouldn't Surecast the previous mechanic. Just line up an instant with, I'll just jump back a little. Right, this mechanic, use mana ward for this mechanic, but maybe do not use a Surecast. Just time an instant with the first triangle hit if there is one, because generally there's a pretty low chance of you getting, there's a 50-50 chance of you getting hit but having to eat a mechanic here. So just time that. I see this is not very helpful. I'm just gonna skip ahead back to this thing. Right, now on the off chance that you did not get this Firestarter proc, you didn't time it correctly, your opener would look like T3, Paradox, Transpose, throw in a Xenoglossy if you have it, and then triple cast, F3, and then F4, F4. And then you'll still have a Paradox, two Fire 4s, and a Despair. Alright. It's not as good, but that's what I would do if I did not set up the Firestarter proc correctly. Alright, so back to here, Surecast, and everything is alright with life. Now, I never really remember what happens next. I always rely on the paradigma cast, generally. Let's see. Alright, paradigma. Alright, random snakes. Now, you're gonna see your triple cast come up around this time, and you're going to be very tempted to use it. Now, for random snakes accompanied by nothing else, be very careful. Don't do that. You're gonna want to hit triple cast. Don't hit triple cast. Resist it with all your will. Do not hit triple cast. Instead, use any other instant to run to the corner with the triangle. Because after this is going to be the phlegathons. The chain of phlegathons where you're just stuck running from one side of the map to the other side.
All in existence, bend to my will.
Alright, around here, you can triple cast. And you're running. So if you use triple cast before here, you might have scuffed your rotation quite a bit. At this point, you see that my ley lines have come up, and I really want to put them down, but I can't because we want to put the ley lines in a very specific spot, which is up in front, right here. If you're in a static, please tell them to bring the stack up to the front over here, so you can drop your ley lines earlier. Also, this spot, think of it as the map just divided into thirds by these arcane seals. The left side is also fine. So right, the middle goes off, and then you move in, right? Or if it's the opposite pattern, you go out and then in. This spot reflected onto the other side is safe regardless of the position of the triangle, right? Just be in the front enough and you'll be fine. So this party is doing a decent amount of damage, so we're actually gonna clear over here, but the rest of the fight, there's nothing particular to look out for. It is just these paradigma casts over and over again, I believe. As long as you go to the correct corner, you'll be fine. There's not any sort of more movement or specific things to look out for, right? So hopefully that helped you guys. Honestly, you can kind of follow what I did step by step, and you could probably reproduce it quite consistently. I'm not really sure what else to say. As long as you know where the safe spots are, and you honestly don't need to know that many safe spots because we eat some mechanics, and we just simply don't care. We just eat it with Mana Ward and maybe Surecast, and then we don't have to bother. So as long as you know some safe spots or you have a good Dorito, I really hate that term Dorito, but as long as you know where you're going, Zodiark is not bad. It is pretty simple to optimize, in my opinion. So the next video will be on Hydaelyn. I have not done Hydaelyn in a while, nor do I have her timeline memorized at all, but I will do my best to put out a guide. But I have not seen anybody ask for a guide on Hydaelyn yet, so maybe I don't have to do one. Alright, see ya guys.